Right, hi everybody. This is a different video for me. I went to see 3 films this week, and all was very, very good, but 2 were outstanding, really outstanding. I just want to give a quick review, really. The first one is probably the best, is the best in fact, and it's called Anatomy of a Fall. It's a French film. It won the Palme d'Or this year, and by the director Justine Trudeau, I think her name is. She's only the third woman director to win a Palme d'Or, and this is, a really good thing. Anyway, back to the film. Back to the film. You must see it. Up here, I'll do a poster of it, and I'll try and link the review. Not review. I'll try and link the. I'll try and link the trailer down here in the notes. Don't know if I can do that yet, but good luck. I'll do that with all the films. Anyway, so the story is right at the start, you see a woman being interviewed by another woman talking about books, and you can hear this music in the background. It's getting louder and louder and louder. So loud that the interview has to be called to an end. The son goes out for a walk with a dog. That's all you know. Comes back. The boy comes back with a dog and sees a man on the floor, dead. He'd obviously fallen from a height. And this is in, which I'm told, I suppose, is in France. It's in the Alps, and it's all snowing. It's quite dramatic, really. There he is, slumped on the floor, blood. But the boy's blind, so he can't actually see it, so he sort of stumbles around. But the dog's making a hell of a bloody noise. And then you see the woman that was being interviewed, which we now know is the wife, comes out and starts screaming. So from that moment on, it becomes a drama about the death of this man. It turns out with the inquest that the husband, has got a cut just here. They're almost certain that this cut happened before he fell or was pushed or jumped. So the only person really that was in the house was the wife, and there's a subsequent trial about this. By some sort of judgment, she gets bail, and so she lives with the son, and the son has this advocate, because the mother's not allowed to talk to the son, obviously, about the trial. But it's when we get to trial, that's the thing. So it's the trials in France, where the husband was from, because he's French, and he decided he would bring the family to this little chateau in the middle of the hills, inspire him because he's a writer. He will do some writing, she'll do some writing, they'll divvy up the tasks, and they'll both be extremely creative. This is like 3 years now has gone. She's flying, she's on her second or third book. He's still struggling with his first book that's 10 years old and still a manuscript. So that's that. So he's basically the childminder and the DIY man. She has no regrets about moving. She doesn't like where she's moving, but she says, it was his choice. I married him, and I'm happy to do that. So he comes, as I say, goes to trial, and when she starts speaking, and throughout the film, you realise that she is German. So she speaks German as a native language. She met her husband, and they went to England to live, to do some, lecturing, things like that. But lecturing wasn't enough for him. But they lived there a good time. They had a really, really good life. Amazing social life, amazing films, amazing everything. But they decided then, obviously, to move to France, which was his hometown. So she was almost like an alien, really. She was living in this town that everybody knew him. I was a little bit wary of her because she's German. So, to come to trial, she has to speak in the native tongue of the town or the country, which is obviously French. But when she's like describing her relationship, she can't do it in French, obviously. She does it in English, and then obviously gets translated. And this is like a strange thing about language, isn't it? As she slowly picks her way through, you can see her thinking, obviously, in German and then can't do it in French, so just in English. And it turns out that when her and her husband were together, they decided to speak English, very importantly. Not French, not German. The husband was really frustrated about this. He says, you're really selfish. Our son speaks French. He doesn't understand what we're talking about all the time. So she advocates him for being like bilingual. And then we go on to the actual court itself. The things that come out. The husband, who was a writer, for inspiration, he used to record him and his wife's conversations. One conversation that he almost provoked an argument. This is about 2 weeks before. 2 weeks before he died. It was about him basically saying, "Look, you're really selfish. I'm here to support you. You don't support me." And he's being absolute. And she's being really, and she's in the court, very particular about her words, very rational, and just basically saying, "That's not how I remember it. It's not what we said. I've given you everything you wanted. We've said we can put our child into childcare, blah blah blah. Even if we can't afford it, but that's what we'll do." And he provokes him, and this is obviously audio recording. He didn't do a video, and you can hear right at the end of the argument because it does actually get heated, and you hear a fracas. So she's asked to explain that. She says, "Yes, it was me. I was frustrated. I was drinking wine, and I threw my glass." And then the husband shouted abuse. There was a fracas, but nothing much, and he stormed out. And then, I don't know if this would happen in England, I don't know. The man's, it is only a friend, but he's a therapist. The therapist then talks about what the husband used to tell him, as in how horrible she was, blah, blah, blah. And she sat there listening to this man. Was perhaps not her best friend, but it was her husband's best friend. Yeah, again, she spoke this in English because she couldn't do it in English. She couldn't do it in French. She couldn't do it in German. Well, she could do it in German, but yeah. She basically says, "Yes, I understand, that my husband may not have been happy and may have said all these things. And in his mind, that's probably what he thought. And it was his outlets. And when we have outlets and we feel free, we can express ourselves." She says, "If I went to the therapist and they came today, I'm sure the things that he or she would have said would be absolutely monstrous to my husband." She goes on to say that, yes, that timeline, that point, that is how he's feeling. But our relationship was a good relationship. We were just going along. We had our ups and downs. And that's the life that we chose. And I just wish he was here. This was 2.5 hours. I bloody loved it. I really did. I loved the interplay. I just thought it was amazing. And then obviously we got to the verdict, which I'm not going to tell you. But I would recommend you watch. I'll do it again, lot. An Anatomy of a Thought. It is French. It is in subtitles. It is in English. Go ahead and enjoy. Now, I want to talk about Saltburn. This is an absolutely amazing film. Visually amazing. It's not a bad soundtrack, although it does have The Cheeky Girls, which I didn't hear, but when I listened to it on Spotify, I thought, oh, I can't remember that. Anyway, forget Cheeky Girls. This is a story about lovely Felix. The actor who is, which I forgot his name, has been in loads of stuff like that. Bunches of, let's get him whatever it's called. He's in that and loads of other stuff. Felix gets himself to Oxford. He's worked bloody hard. He's from the north. That's quite important, really. First day that he turns up, he walks around. He's in a suit. Everybody else is in cashmere casual, just thrown together. Looks bloody smart, I must admit. Just their dress, their clothes and shoes worth more than my car, probably. But anyway, it's not about that. So he doesn't fit in. Goes for food. Nobody wants to talk to him. So he's got one mate, that's it. But he's lusting for this, to be part of this gang. But he can't be. Until he has a chance meeting with Oliver. Oliver is beautiful. He's tall. Everybody loves him. Everybody's around him. He gets hugs. Everyone just hangs on his word and wants to be in his orbit. We all know friends like that. Women just flock at his feet, just fall. That's it. So, it's a good look, and that's why Felix is, we're going to say, obsessed by him. But anyway, this chance meeting, Felix is sat reading his book in a park, and Oliver walks past with a puncher. And Felix says, look, take my bike. You get off, do what you need to do. And he even volunteers to push his bike back to the same horse that he's at. So he's happy. And then, several days later, Felix is in the pub and he sees Oliver. Oliver says, come over, my dear friends. Felix, come and meet everybody. I have a drink. You're my hero. And he's welcomed with open arms, with the suspicion of all his mates. But he has a brilliant time, and there's he gets more and more friendly with Oliver, and they're inseparable. They really are inseparable. And then Oliver's new plaything, he's getting a little bit tired of him, and Felix tells him about his parents, that what a hard life he's had, and Oliver is deeply succumbed to that, and their friendship moves on. And then it comes to summer breaks, and Felix says, I'm not doing anything over the summer. So Oliver says, come to my house, Saltburn, for the whole summer. We'll have you. There's always guests at my house. It's a big house. And he turns up, and it is massive. It's what I would call like a country mansion. Opens the doors, double doors as big as my house. And there's a main butler and there's two other butlers. There's probably a name for that, but I don't know. And he's welcomed in. He's made extremely welcome by Oliver. He says, you're going to be the making of my summer holiday. Thank you for coming. Gets to his bedroom, quick showing around the house, just upstairs. And Oliver says to him, right, you get yourself ready, meet me in the library. So, that's just how grand this house is. All right, it has its own bloody library. Anyway, goes down there. He meets Oliver's mum and dad, played by Rosemary Pike and Richard E. Grant. I just want to say something though, that Rosemary Pike's character in this, I think you could make a whole bloody movie of it. I'd watch it. I don't know if that'd be like a fantasy thing, but just the character is amazing. She says, I remember in London when I used to be around Britpop, this, that, and the other. So writers, get onto that. I know you don't listen to me, but you could do that. Anyway, so he's there over the summer, and he is their plaything. It's been said before, like, you're not as good as the last one last year, and all that sort of stuff. And what he does is, he's like I don't know what the word is, but each person that's staying in the house, he befriends them, makes them love him, makes him really want him around. And individually then, all the people that are important to this house, he does. And the ones that don't like him are very, very dark. He somehow, mysteriously, they get into trouble. So it is all of this. It is manipulation, really. And then, what happens is something a little bit unexpected. You didn't really expect this. But Oliver does something really, really nice for Felix on his birthday. And then from this, one act, it is like a house of cards. Just a series of events that comes to an ending, which is really good. But what I really want to talk to you about, and that is the film, really, But there are just some scenes, there's two scenes in particular that are remarkable, unforgettable. I really want to talk to you about them, but I don't want to spoil the surprise. One of them is why would anybody want to drink bath water? Why would you do that? And then watch the film and you know why it is. It looked shocking. I was taken aback at the time. I really was taken aback. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being shocked. This what, and then there's another scene. I mean, they do say like upper class people can be like vampires, and let's just say Felix tried to fit in a little bit too much. If you've seen the film, you'll understand that reference. But to be honest, really, really, really honest, I want to see the director's other film, Portrait of a Young Woman, or something like that. Something like that it is. It's supposed to be really good. Saltburn, when it comes out on streaming, or I ain't got a DVD player, but when it comes out, I am definitely going to watch it over and over again. And there's not that many films that I watch over and over again. But it is just beautiful. Oh, one thing, it's very strange. You get to the cinema, and normally you get there, don't you? And then you get all the rubbish adverts, new hybrid cars, all that sort of stuff. And the cinema goes, sorry, like that, yeah. But no, this time it went like that. I thought, oh, they've messed up. Oh, this is going to get on my nerves because I thought they got the wrong film stuff in. But it's shot in 4:3, which is a square. It works. It really just works. It's really good for faces, buildings, scenes, and it just adds to it. It really just adds to it. Anyway, get yourself to see it very soon. Obviously, I recommend it cinema, but I know we all can't do that. I want to talk about May, December. This is an American film. It's about Gracie. She's probably out in her 50s. It's about her story, her love affair with Joe. And but unfortunately, Joe was at what they call middle school, so we were about 14, 15 when she first met Gracie. They had an affair, and he worked in a pet shop, very important. And they were caught in the back room of the pet shop, and the whole scandal broke. Now what happened, obviously, because she's an abuser, she went to prison. In prison, she had a baby, which she kept in prison, and then when she got out after her sentence, she married Joe, the young lad. And then subsequently they had some children themselves, 2 twins, who at the time of this film are about to go to college. And that's the timeline that we're at. This caused a massive scandal, obviously, as you would expect. But now they're living a quiet life, and the community have accepted them and seen them a big part of their community, and they think they're lovely. On the surface, anyway. Juliette Moore, she plays Gracie. Sorry, I forgot to say that. And the other big star is Natalie Portman. She plays Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a actress, indie actress really, and she has come to play a movie about the story of Grace and Joe. But she wants to get really into character, so she understands Grace, how Grace was all those years ago. Grace, if she could follow her around, get to know her mannerisms, and her seduction to getting inside the family for a couple of weeks is that, look, I want to play the best version of you, and the way I can do that is by knowing you. This is a bit of a threat and also a bit of a seduction. Gracie has fell for this. She wants the story to be known about their wonderful romance that they've had. That's now flourished. They've got children, and they're going on to later in life. So you see Elizabeth turn up, follow the family, and she's very different. And slowly throughout the film, you see her morph into Grace. And during this journey, there's some particular scenes where Elizabeth is putting on the makeup like Grace, and then Grace does it for her. And that is quite an intimate scene, but you can tell the two people are suspicious, but you know they want this, which is good. But what I think is the main thing about this movie is Joe. Joe is the young lad. He's now a man, 'cause it's 20 years later. So he's about 20 years later. So he's about 35, you know, he's coming to that fine. And I think this is a coming of age movie for him. You see him at the start, he's very passive, he's very obliging, he's very happy with what he got, and he says he's very happy with what he's got. He's so proud of his children, he loves his wife. Where he's in the world, he's quite happy. You can see his dad every now and again. He's happy, he hasn't got any complaints. But as the movie goes on, Elizabeth obviously wants to get to know him, and that relationship goes, and her talking to him listening, with his children going off to university, all these things he's missed. He's beginning to realise he has lost his childhood. He has been robbed, really robbed. And you start to see that perhaps the veneer of the relationship isn't as strong. And that is what's so important about this film. The film itself, I left and it was a bit discussed it. That really helped. And to be honest, 2 days later, I think it's a better film than I did when I walked out. I'd recommend watching it. I will say that the geezer that plays Joe, just brilliant. I've forgotten his name, I'm afraid. But perhaps he might get a mention at Oscar time. Okay, so if you like this format, me doing film reviews, I'd like to do more. Just let me know. Obviously, just here, it's going to be a old YouTube video. Just here, I want you to subscribe and like somewhere here, but I don't actually know how I do that. Thanks for watching, and catch you soon. So if you do like me doing movie reviews, why don't you do us a favour, all of you, just contact the Broadway, or thing down there, see if you can get me a golden ticket. I can give them weekly reviews. Probably watch 2 films a week for them. I know, it's cheeky, isn't it? It's very cheeky.